Hello, Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Dr. Viktor Fursov. I'm a research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher. And this is my channel about insects, about the science of entomology, the science about insects, and about some invertebrates in a global scale. Today we will be talking about different things. First of all, a little bit about Ukraine, about English, about insects. What's about Ukraine? Ukraine is continuing to fight against our neighbor, our aggressor, which is trying to suppress our army, but our army is fighting against these bloody aggressors. So this is very hard. Fortunately, this day was more or less calm for Kiev region, but still very hard, actually hard in the southeast and eastern part of Ukraine, where the fight is continuing. Today I was talking with some of my foreign friends, and who told me that there are kind of discussions about Ukraine, about the war in Ukraine. So not everybody just can understand the situation. Yes, I guess so, especially for foreigners, it's very difficult to understand the situation somewhere outside. So we were talking with my friends that some people becoming ignorant regarding the war. Some people cannot understand what's going on because they are living in comfortable conditions. When some foreigner in some foreign countries which are far away from military zone, people are living still in the same comfort situation like before the war in Ukraine. If you're thinking about war somewhere far away, somewhere like Cambodia was too far away, people do not feel just any compassion about it. Only very emotional people. Thank you for people who is joining us during this stream. Yes, but what's going on? Because for some people, we're still living in the comfort zone. And in this comfort zone, it's difficult to share their emotions because it's easy to give a little bit money or do not give the money at all, go to the beach, swimming in the sea, enjoy themselves, and don't think about any military zones like zones in Ukraine, about refugees who are just escaping from the country, about explosions, about blasts in Ukraine, about suffering situation in the Ukraine, about suffering people. Millions of people are suffering. So some millions who just escape from the military zone, and some the same military who are just fighting and just sacrificing their life for the sake of an independent Ukraine and for democracy as a global value. Yes, this is a war not only for Ukraine. This is war for democracy and for global value of freedom, freedom and independence, freedom, independence, and a conscience. Conscience. This is a part of a Ukrainian heart. Conscience, which is actually sounds and it's written words like code science. Conscience, something inside the heart of Ukrainian people who are fighting for their land, who are protecting the country, who are fighting against totalitarianism from the bloody eastern country which is invading Ukraine. So that's why if you are living in a foreign country and you do not want to understand it, that's just your character. Some people are just compassionate, some people are becoming volunteers, some people are just interested in the situation and trying to understand what's going on. Who is victim of the war? Who are victims of the war? Who just first started the war? War was started by Russia. Yes, did you know about it? Yes, it was started, and it was claimed later that they started war to prevent the war. This is completely precise definition for aggressor to start the war to prevent the war. Just so that's why they did it. The Ukrainian army fighting, losing hundreds and thousands of people for the independence of Ukraine. So if you are interested in Ukraine, write your questions in the comments. If you want to understand the situation better, write your questions in the comments. And if you want to support Ukrainian people, write your questions in the comments or just ask your questions in private messages. Actually, one of my followers, one of viewers, wrote me the message that you should be a little bit careful about volunteering activities because some people can be frauders, you can be stealers of money in volunteering activities. Yes, actually, it's possible in any country, in any situation. Always some thugs, some bandits are appearing just who is trying to steal the money. So that's why volunteers must be very, very careful. If you want to support Ukraine in this military situation, because we need not only food, but also need some military, some weapons. If you want to support in any case, in any activity, just search for precise addresses of volunteers organizations. Or if you want to receive some advices, I know some volunteers, I know just scientists from our National Academy of Sciences, who is just busy with volunteering activities in a gray zone of between Ukrainian forces and fighting against Russian forces. So I can give you some addresses, some contacts, some names of this organization, so you can contact with them precisely to support them. So that's why always must be careful about thugs, about some thieves, definitely. Anyway. So fortunately, as I said, today was a quiet day, so we didn't have drones in skies in Kiev. But who knows, because we are ready for it every day. Every peaceful day is a fortunate day at the present time. Yes, it is not so easy, but who knows what's going on, because crazy people are always crazy. And I'm not going to put peers against the swine and explain too much for them in English language or in Russian language or in Ukrainian language. Swines are swines, and they do not need any explanations or discussions. So if you want to get some discussions, write in the comments or ask questions in the private messages. Let's start to talk about more pleasant things like Ukrainian insects and invertebrates. Yes, this was the beginning. You have recognized the picture on my cover of this video. This is the picture of Kiev with Florivka. This is a mountains hill in the center of Kiev, on Volodymyr's hills in the center of Kiev near St. Michael Cathedral and St. Sophia Cathedral. And this is Andreevsky descent picture with this Florivka hill. Nice place for collecting insects. I have collected insects during 1-2 summer seasons and published some papers about it. And today we can talk about insects which you can find in Kiev or in any of the cities if you are living in a city, or in a village if you are living in a village. We will be talking about insects indoors, living inside house. Yes, inside house. And now in the wartime, this is very, very important, relatively important question, but really important because during this time people are making some stocks, because in certain situation shops are closed during air raid attacks. Shops closed and people are just sitting in houses or in shelters, and then they need to go to take some food, and they collect some food and keep them like in certain stock for certain period of time in advance. So some stocks are possible in a shop or in a house or in a kitchen. And of course, insects are coming. Insects are coming to your house, to your kitchen, to your stock, to your shop, and want to infest your different food. Yes, either it is dry food or it is just dry fruits like raisins, apples, dry pears, dry peaches, or just this can be some cereals, some grains, or just cakes. If you keep them just in open cages, that's a danger because some dangerous from our point of view, natural insects come into your house in a warm time. Now it's winter time. At the present time in winter time, they can come from the shop. You are going for shopping and you are buying the food, some cereal, some grains, just in a packages which are not precisely sealed, well packed, like vacuum packed, for instance. Majority of food are not vacuum packed because it needs special equipment. In many cases, they are just in open bags, some cereals, for instance, and they can be infested by so much. I will show you just some insects which we live in my house, in culture for scientific purposes, and in laboratory because I have a small culture at home and I brought it to my laboratory at the Institute for Investigation of Natural Enemies like these parasitoids. What's about insects? First of all, I show you them, definitely show you them. So these insects are coming to your house from outside. Yes, these tiny beetles which are named, how do they name them? Bread beetles. Bread beetles. Yes, Stegobium paniceum in Latin name. Stegobium paniceum. Bread beetle or drugstore beetle. Why they're bread beetle? Because they eating bread. Adults and larvae eating dry bread, not fresh bread. Definitely don't worry about fresh bread, which you are buying in a food market. Fresh bread is not infested. Dry bread, like cakes, unsealed cakes, if you keep them for a long time, couple months in open bag, these beetles are flying very well. They're flying from outside, from a street, from your neighbors, or you bring them very easily from the shop. You bring them from a shop and you infest your house, infest your kitchen, infest your food in a house. So, and they are breeding very well, very easily because they penetrate new food pack, lay eggs, and larvae inside the cake, making a gray inside cake. So it's close, pupate inside, and then hatching from inside and flying. You see some beetles were flying very well. They have only one small disadvantage for themselves because they're very fragile. It's easy to identify them. They're about 2 millimeters size, they're very fragile. You can easily scratch them with your fingers, easily scratch them, and they're dying easily. But they're flying very well. They can be near the window or they're hiding and just accidentally penetrate new food stock and infest it if you are bringing even little bit of them because females lay about 60-100 eggs, so about 100 new larvae and new beetles will appear just from one female one, this little beetle, and the population will be growing very quickly. So be careful about them. If you found them or you found food infested with these beetles, easy to get rid of them. Just put this food, this cereals, this grain or cakes in the refrigerator under the minus 20 degree under the minus 20 degree, all beetles will die after 1 day immediately, very quickly. Or you can heat it in your heating machine. Heat it with over 30, so they die as well. And these beetles also just very easy to infest in your food, but they're infesting only beans, because these are bean beetles. Bean beetles, or Phaseolum, Acanthocellidis phaseolum. Bean beetles, size a little bit bigger, about 3-4 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 2-3 millimeters, slightly bigger. They're like small balls. They're flying very well, but they're living only inside beans. So when they're hatching, they're making holes in the beans. So you can see on the picture, the photo, holes in beans, and these beans already damaged. That's good for food because they're small. It's better to avoid them. Do not give them even just for animals. Because larvae, beetles, and they have some chemical substances which are not valuable even for birds or just another animals if you feed them with infested, especially with highly infested beings. Highly infested beings can be even allergic for humans. So better throw them away, or just the same how to get rid of them. If you've seen only little bit, just the beginning of infestation in a freezer under minus 20, all beetles will die after 1-2 days. Very easy to get rid of them. To avoid them, just put in the refrigerator but only to freezer, to freeze them. And these beetles, very tiny, but smaller than the first one and the second one. They are named sawtoothed beetles. Sawtoothed beetles. The range name is very really small, about 2 millimeters size, but they have a strong elytras. You do not screw easy. They're pretty strong, very hard, but they are very flat. They have a very flattened shape of body. They can easily penetrate inside any bag with some small crevices in bags. So easy to penetrate. Sometimes they're very quiet. They do not move, just hiding themselves. But recently I did a video especially about them because I did my porridge, and porridge was infested with these beetles. What means porridge infested? Dry porridge, dry cereals were infested, and I bought them together with porridge in a shop. When I brought it in, it just immediately started to escape from the bag, and I found few of them in my cooked porridge. So I understood that no, they didn't come just from the air. I bought them together with a dry porridge and cooked them together. So I threw them away and did video about it. And of course, I threw them away just to feed pigeons outside. It's street. Pigeons were happy about cereals. But the name of Surinamensis is Surinamis beetle. Suriname beetle. Or saw-toothed beetle, because this beetle has a special structure on thorax. Looks like saw with 3 big tooths on the body. So the Suriname beetles. And next one beetle is the commonest in a village. Yes, I have a good, interesting impression about this beetle from my childhood. When I saw them at the first time, maybe at the age of 10, I seen them in a village, because in a village, one big bag with grains of wheat was inside the house. Yes, and it was very interesting because the people had a small farms, had hens, just some chickens near the house, and we were feeding them with grain of wheat, and they brought it inside the house for winter. But inside house, these beetles were very happy for breeding because this is Cytophilus oryzae, rice weevils. These are beetles named weevils, because you see the nose of these beetles very long, nose very long. So they are weevils, and they are rice weevil, or you can use also the name as a grain weevil because they're living in a grain, and they're infesting grains of different types: corn, wheat, rice. They can infest also some cakes. The beetles will eat dry food as cakes or even pasta. Even sometimes can develop inside dry pasta. But beetles especially, they will like it very much. The same as Suriname beetle. Suriname beetle can eat everything else in your kitchen or in your stove. The same like a Phytophilus, this is rice beetle, or rice weevil to be precise. Because they're weevil, they have a very long nose on the head. So you see, here they're trying to escape, and they have body about 3 millimeters size with some yellowish spots on elytras on wings. They're flying very well. Some species do not fly, but crawling very well. Crawling and infesting, and so they can run either just to the light or again outside of a light, depends from the situation. Sometimes they're coming outside from the light from the window, hiding in somewhere inside the room. And next insect, which is very common in your kitchen, this tiny insect, this very tiny insect. And this tiny, yes, this is a fruit fly. These are two mating fruit flies, male and female, and two males with black abdomen. So here, male and female. They're very tiny, about 2 millimeters size, very noisy. So more precise to say, they're very irritating for housekeepers because they're flying inside the kitchen, near flowers, or just near fruits, or near fresh fruits which you bought and brought in your kitchen. So we will fly always near fresh fruits. That's why, and so they have a name, fruit flies. So they can easily infest fruits. Again, you can bring little bit rotten fruit or infested fruit from the food market or from a shop or from just flea market. So you do not see the fly, but fly is like a larva or like the egg. So can come into your kitchen together with both fruits, because the eggs are laid and eggs are very, very small, easily can survive in the summertime. And also, of course, in the summertime, these tiny fruit flies, they easily come in to have a meal. We go through the window because they smell very well. They feel smell of fruits, of rotating fruits, and they infest new fresh fruits. Sometimes entomologists and amateurs in them for their purposes, for feeding, in other insects and spiders, or feeding, for instance, culture of ants in formicariums. Very easy to keep them in the culture just in a plastic bag, and just then freeze them a little bit in a refrigerator and feed with bodies of these tiny small fruit flies, the culture of ants, because ants sometimes can be phytophagous, feeding on the seeds, but in many cases feeding on protein substances, on insects. And finally, among stock pests, I show this strange, and you can recognize that these strange creatures are not insects. About them, which is named mites in honey. Mites in honey, because I did special microscope slide, and I put them in a drop of honey and recorded it like they're moving. In reality, there are no mites in honey, so do not believe that there is any mite in honey. So this is just only for experiment. So in this case, I put them just to the drop of water. In drop of water, they are not dying immediately. They're just crawling, moving with their legs. And adults, they have just 8 legs, and small larvae, they have 3 legs. Sometimes looks like insects, but these are flower mites, not flower mites, not from flowering plants, but flower mites from like sometimes can be called like a dust mites. But they are living in rotating fruits, or it can be living on damaged bread, for instance, damaged by some another insects, because some insects producing just a lot of dust. For instance, some bread beetles, some Zaphobos larvae were producing a lot of dust. And these mites were eating this dust, the dust from flour, from bread, and bread dust. So that's why they are called sometimes bread mites, because they're living on flour. They're very small, size about 0.2 millimeters. They're visible on just naked eye, but like a small white spot. But also in some cases, some companies which are selling vacuum cleaners saying, you need to buy vacuum cleaner to fight against dust mites. There are a lot of dust mites in your house. This is a big question. In reality, there are not too much dust mites in a house because they do not survive in a dry area, in a dry room, in a cold room with changeable temperature, with hot room. They can be growing in a wet temperature in a wet room more often. But if this is a dry room, they are not developing in a dust. So don't be worried about too much about dust. So your room should be with dust maybe for 1 year or 2 years. In this case, different mites can be breeding and rearing inside dust in your room. But if you didn't clean your room for a couple of days or just for a week, these mites will not be in the dust in your room, but they can be in the dust in the culture of your insects, because you do not clean every week the culture of your breeding insects like super mealworm or another insects like mealworm, beetles. If you do not clean them for 1 week, 2 weeks, couple of months, they can be easily breeding on the culture of inside the culture of beetles, or even in the culture of ants. So, and of course, they're crawling outside, and some people can be allergic about them. Immediately, you need to change the culture, to change the food, bread, cereals, or just container, clean the container from the food as well. And you will avoid next infestation for a certain period of time. They are breeding because if you put container in a more dry area, they will not be breeding. To avoid them, to get rid of them, to try to use dry area and using dry food for your pets or for your pets' insects. So you will avoid the presence of this strange dust mites or flower mites. You can always avoid them. You do not need to worry about allergy, but you need to worry if they appeared. Please clean your boxes, clean your cages as better as possible. Cleaning will be good enough to avoid any consequences, kind of like an allergy. Better to clean your cages of your small pets because they are crawling sometimes in hundreds, in thousands from your cage. And finally, final insect, which I would like to show you. This is insect from Southeast Asia, and this is giant hornet, giant Asian hornet with open mandibles. You see antenna, one antenna on the right is broken. These are also legs with tarsi. You can see here 3 small eyes, 2 big eyes, like beans on the both sides. In the center on fronts, these are 3 very tiny eyes, simple, as we say, simple eyes. And the head of the Asian hornet is very, very big, much bigger than a head of a European hornet. European hornet is smaller and head has a different shape. And I will show you European hornet as well. This was a head of Asian hornet, and this is a head of European hornet. Hornet is smaller and not so wide head. Here you can see yellow and black bands of a body, of abdomen, sting. You can see here the sting again. And these are two queens of European hornet, Vespa crabro. Big one about 3.5 centimeters. Giant Asian hornet, bigger even from 3 centimeters up to 4-5 centimeters size. But I have a relatively small one. But head is completely different in the shape, much wider and thicker. And here we have also next female. And these are black hornet, which is named small Asian hornet, with same origin from Southeast Asia. This is European hornet. You see yellowish color, brown and yellow color. Here again queen, brown and yellow color, especially yellow abdomen, and here black body and yellow top of the abdomen. This is small Asian hornet, dangerous invasive species which came to France, Italy, Spain, Belgium, even to Germany during previous 10 years, and can be spreading to another places of Europe if there is no control in the future. So on right side, this is European hornet, and left side, dangerous invasive species, small Asian hornet. So these are some insects which I have presented for today for this video. We had a short talk about insects, about life in Kiev, life in Ukraine. So if it was interesting for you, write your comments under this video, because video will be just also keeping on my channel for longer as a recorded video. Write your comments if you are on Gmail. If you are on Gmail, you can write comments. If you are on other email you are not able to write comments because only Gmail can allow you to write comments. And I wanted to show you my email, but it is somewhere else. Next time. Right. Email is indicated under this video, so you can send private messages on email, or you can be my donator, so you can send donations on my PayPal or on my Patreon page to support my channel and support my activity. So you can be donator and sponsor as well, because some countries it's quite easy to use credit card. Credit card can be easily used in many countries with PayPal service, with Patreon service. We pay just for food, for bread. We pay with credit card, with in any shop in Ukraine. So in many countries, it's easy to use it as well. So easy to send donations from one country to another with small charge for service, and it will come to me as support. And thank you for sponsors. I am indicating sponsors in the end of my videos, which are newly coming. So I have a list of my sponsors, who will just send me some donations on my Patreon page. So thank you for watching. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, press like, write your comments, go to Patreon page. See you soon on my channel again. Bye bye. Good luck and see you soon. And Ukraine forever. Ukraine forever. Bye bye. See you soon.